noche voy a compartir. Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing? This is America. I'm going to do this in English instead. Tonight, I want to share with you a story. A story that took place in my homeland of Venezuela. A story that not only changed my life, but one that almost got me arrested. Now imagine that. Yourself locked up in a third world country jail. Can you imagine that? Well, I hope none of you have to go past imagining it. But this story takes place in Carnaval. Carnaval is that awesome holiday with alcohol, beads, and lots of boobs. Unfortunately, tonight there will be no boobs. At least none from me. Unless somebody in the audience wants to volunteer, which is perfectly fine with me. Hey, I'm not judging. So. But going back to the story of Friday. In Venezuela, we don't celebrate it with alcohol, beads, or boobs. We are just stuck with balloons. To be more specific, water-filled balloons, which we throw at each other. Seriously. No matter how much you cry to your mommy, you are going to get wet. Oh, and at the end, I'm going to demonstrate how we like to celebrate. Trust me, it sure is fun. This story has one very important character, and that is my friend Christian. You see, Christian was the kind of guy who would do anything for the sake of a good laugh. And he would do such gross things as sneezing vanilla ice cream from his nose out of laughter, to the most important part of the story. It all began one morning when three college friends had nothing better to do. We decided to fill up some water balloons. Just 400 of them. I mean, no big deal. But imagine what happens when three college friends get together and have nothing better to do. You guessed it correctly. Something very, very, very stupid. After a whole morning of horseplay and foolishness, and now that we have 400 balloons with us, we decided it would have been a great idea to hit the town and hit the kids that were still in high school with the balloons. What a great idea, guys, right? Actually, wrong. I was the driver. Carlos was the passenger. But I made the fantastic decision of letting Christian ride in the back of the truck with the 400 balloons unattended. Now, halfway through our destination, Christian had the fantastic idea of using one of the pedestrians as target practice. Against our wishes, and most importantly, common sense, there was no way of stopping it. I yelled at him, "Christian, don't do it!" He looked at me through the rear window and nodded. I said, "Okay, let's continue." But as soon as I finished that sentence, he let go one of his famous, "Yeah, right!" And in a split of a second, he grabbed one of the balloons and was ready for action. Now this part, it all happened in slow motion. He quickly aimed, threw the balloon, and licked back down the back of the truck. So I just kept driving. Now, at this point, all we could see was the water balloon flying away from the truck in a perfect trajectory towards the curb by the side of the road. Carlos and I stared as the balloon approached the curb until, bam! It hit this lady right in the face. I couldn't believe it. So, guess what happened? We just started laughing like hyenas. I mean, Now at this point, our laughter quickly came to a stop. Carlos just realized that there was a police officer driving on the opposite side of the road. Uh-oh. We all know this feeling, right? Swallow deeper. Took a long breath. And pretended nothing was happening. But we were not the only ones that took notice of the cops. The lady that we had just bombed in the face noticed them too. And quickly started yelling, "Police! Police! Police!" and pointed right at us. Well, obviously, the police officers slammed on their brakes and in a quick Blues Brothers style turned around and just started chasing us. Well, we were in trouble. I panicked. So did my friends. I had never been in trouble with the law, and quite honestly, I had no idea what to do. Took a second to think. And I said, "Don't worry, guys. I got this." And like a complete idiot, I floored it and started pretending I was in Smokey and the Bandit. As soon as I could no longer see the cops in my rearview mirror, I quickly came to a stop at a parking lot of a nearby building and told Carlos, "Don't worry, we can hide here. The cops will never find us. It all comes to worst. We can tell them, hey, we live here." But see, I failed to realize one thing. In Venezuela, cops are used to these kinds of things. And as soon as I stopped and I opened the door, like ninjas, they jumped out of the car and pointed their guns right at my face. This was the first moment in my life I thought, well, there goes my underwear. After a lengthy session of questioning, the cops just realized we were just dumb, young kids, doing what dumb, young kids do. And again, you guessed it correctly, some things do. They told Carlos and I to grab the cooler from the back side of the truck and dump the balloons on the nearby grass. In much disbelief and discontent, I saw how one by one the balloons started popping. And I said, man, I just spent 4 hours filling up these balloons. But hey, I'd rather have lost these 400 balloons than spend a night in jail. I hear a lot of bad things happen in jail, and hey, none of them are funny. After such an encounter with the local police, and the thought of being arrested in a third world country, or maybe even certain death, there's one thing I can take away from this, and it's not never to throw balloons around. It is not never to run away from the cops, but it is never to leave Christian unattended. Oh.